Contacts have taken place between Amadou Onana's camp and Barcelona regarding a possible move in the summer. It has also been reported many times in the past 4 to 5 weeks that Onana only wants to play for FC Barcelona. As a matter of fact, he's willing to wait for the club in order for them to be financially stronger to afford him. As of now, Barcelona have not taken any steps to have discussions with Everton, and they also don't intend to pay the full release clause that Everton is asking for, because currently Everton is asking for 60 million euros for Amadou Onana. If Everton does get relegated to the second division, Onana's value will decrease by 20 million euros, meaning that he'll cost only 40 million euros. But even with that, even if he were to be valued at 40 million euros, Barcelona want to pay the very minimum. They're willing to include a player within this operation, and that is going to be something that Barcelona will be discussing with Everton in the very near future. So for example, Barcelona can say, we would offer you guys Lenglet plus 25 million euros for Amadou Onana. Now, if you guys are new here and you guys are hearing me for the first time, first of all, I do want to say welcome to the channel. I'm happy that you guys are here. If you guys also want to support this YouTube channel, please subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And so if you guys are again new to the channel, let me just remind everybody here who Amadou Onana is. He is a beast in the midfield, a physical monster, someone who is able to win the ball for you within 3 to 4 seconds after you do lose the ball. He defends a lot of space. He also defends players very well. He eats up so much ground, and most importantly, he does have a lot of power in his runs, and he is a monster, right? Just a monster in the air, probably one of the best in Europe. So he can defend a ball in the air, or he can header a ball when we do need to score a goal during a corner kick. His physical presence is very much felt. Think about Xavi just being like 2 or 3 feet taller. That is just how much of a beast Onana is. Also, one of the biggest reasons why he's able to win the ball so many times is because he has a lot of reach, right? His legs are long, and so he's able to tackle any player once he does get close enough without even committing a foul, because simply it's almost like he wraps his legs around a player without really committing any foul at all. And that is what makes Onana so great. Barcelona through this season have been missing a player like that. The only player that we had even close to him was Xavi, but Onana devotes himself to the central defensive midfield position, and that is why Barcelona right now do need a real ball winner to sit right next to Frankie de Jong. So all in all, he's a top tier athletic player and a ball winner. And in the game against Belgium that happened 2 days ago, he showcased to the world what type of player he really is. So yes, many people were talking about Lamine Yamal, Nico Williams, Endrick, but another player that was blossoming, it was Amadou Onana. Against England, he played 90 minutes, had 1 assist, 32 out of 34 passes were completed, 1 chance created, 53 touches, 4 passes to the final third, 4 out of 4 accurate long balls, 2 clearances, 1 headed clearance, 4 interceptions, 1 recovery, 6 out of 7 ground duels won, and 1 out of 1 aerial duels won. Those are amazing stats for a central defensive midfielder. You can clearly see that his love for football falls in the defensive areas. Also, it has been reported that among the under 23 midfielders in the top 5 leagues, Onana has the highest dribble success rate and the 3rd highest aerial win rate. Now, I do want to make one thing very clear about potentially moving Amadou Onana to FC Barcelona, because I think that many people are assuming that Onana is going to be the next Sergio Busquets, and that's maybe why Barcelona want Onana. But again, let me make it very clear. Onana is nowhere near Sergio Busquets and nowhere near someone like Frankie de Jong, not even someone like Rodri. Onana is not that type of player. He's not the most technical one. He's not the one that brings the creativity in the middle of the pitch. He's also not the one that can find you passes into the box. All of his strengths and what he does best is to take the ball away from the opponent, whether it's in the air or in the ground, or whether he has to go in a 1v1 duel like how Araujo is placed all the time in the defense. Onana is amazing at that. But if you ask him to find a killer pass to either Lamine Yamal or Lewandowski or someone like Joao Felix, Onana can't really do that for you. Now, he's young enough to learn this, right? Because he's only 22 years old, 1 year older than Pedri, and so I do think that he can add more weapons to his arsenal. But the player that might potentially arrive in the summer is not going to be your most technical one. As you can see in this graph here, you can see the differences between Onana and Frankie de Jong. Frankie de Jong is simply the one that has the most progressive passes, key passes, forward passes, carrying ability, and everything all around. Frankie de Jong will find you the key passes and make those forward runs. Onana is only good at the duels and the defensive actions. defense, and that's basically it. But as you can see, it's a perfect balance within the middle of the pitch. You have your very defensive midfielder and you have your very attacking type of midfielder, and then you're always going to be having your number 8, whether it's Pedri or Gundogan. And here's also another conversation I do want to have. I'm a little nervous about this potential signing. Like, yes, I do admire Onana and I appreciate what he has been doing in his career so far, and his story is amazing on how he came up from the age of 12 all the way until the age of 2022. I would love for you guys to like Google his story. You guys would really be inspired by how he got into professional football. But look, it does get me nervous in the end because this signing really does remind me of Oriol Romeu, because when we saw Oriol Romeu last summer, we're like, oh my god, this guy would bring the perfect balance next to Frankie de Jong because he's defensive, he can take the ball away, he's able to run back and attack a lot of open spaces behind him to get the ball back within like 3 to 4 seconds. And so we thought it was the perfect signing. But now fast forward 7 months later, Oriol Romeu ends up being probably the worst signing of the summer. And I hope that we don't go through the exact same case with Amadou Onana, because Onana and Oriol Romeu sound very similar. And here's another thing. When you are a Barcelona central defensive midfielder, you need to be really good at being press resistant. Like when you have the ball and you have 2 players pressing you, you cannot lose the ball. I don't know if Onana is capable to perform under pressure, because Oriol Romeu, as great as a defender he is, every time he has the ball and he's being pressed, he either misplaces the pass or he gives up the ball, and he gives it to the opponent in very dangerous areas. And you cannot give the ball to the opponent when you are a central defensive midfielder. You only make your team concede even more goals. And so with Onana, honestly, I have not seen enough from him to know whether he's good under pressure, because Sergio Busquets was amazing under pressure. So is Frankie de Jong. But with Onana, we don't know, because in the game against England did not really press Onana like that. And even in the Premier League, when he's playing with Everton, most teams, like 99% of the time, they don't really press the central defensive midfielders. What they do is just sit there and wait on like a mid block. And Onana has all the time in the world to make his decisions. But in La Liga, when you're playing against Athletic Club or Atletico Madrid or Valencia or Real Sociedad, it gets very difficult because the teams do press you much more. And I don't know how Onana is going to be responding to that type of environment. So whoever is making this decision, whether it's Deco or Xavi, on making Amadou Onana as one of the options to reinforce the DM spot, they better make sure that that player knows exactly what he's doing when he receives the ball and he's being pressed. And hopefully he has the capability to deliver. And here's going to be another thing. I know it's not Xavi that is asking for Amadou Onana. I do believe that it is Deco, because you're going to tell me that Barcelona are still going to be interested in Onana even after Xavi Hernandez did say that he is leaving from Barcelona in the summer. If Barcelona continue to express interest into Onana, then it has to be Deco that is sparking the interest. It's not Xavi. I strongly believe, and this is just my theory, I think that Xavi Hernandez has been asking for players like Kimmich or Zubimendi, but Deco is the one that says, hey look, yes, these 2 players are great. Yes, they can come to Barcelona because they have the capabilities and the talents, but we can't really afford such players due to either their high transfer fees or because of their wages. And Deco just introduces a player similar to either Kimmich or Zubimendi, and that is why he brings in Amadou Onana, because that is what a sporting director does. Usually when a coach says, I want this player or I want that player, the sporting director is supposed to be saying, okay, we can't really afford that. Here are going to be other options, players that we have scouted over the past 3 to 4 weeks. And that is why Amadou Onana right now is in the conversation, but he is not the most ideal one to reinforce the DM spot in the eyes of Xavi Hernandez. And so let me know what you guys think about the signing of Amadou Onana. Do you believe that he is the perfect replacement that can suit Barcelona and the best pairing for Frankie de Jong? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.